All right, good evening. Good evening. Very good. My name is Corey Williamson. I am the new executive director of the K-State Student Union, so I appreciate you all offering me the opportunity and the time to come speak with you. There's a couple things I want to accomplish this evening. One is I just wanted to make sure that you knew my face and my name. Um, what we are here to do in the union is to make sure that students are our number one priority. And you may hear me say that on several occasions this evening. And so I wanted to make sure you all knew that I am here as a resource, and I'm here to hear your feedback and your needs. And so as a reintroduction to myself, first of all, I am a Kansas State alum. Did both my undergrad and my grad work here as K-State. What brought me to K-State really started with my mother. She had an opportunity to come, and we were living in Kansas City at the time, but she was coming here as a single mother of four children to try and make a better life for us. And so she came to Kansas State, and she did her undergrad here. She received 2 master's degrees, and she received her PhD in family studies and human development. And so she blazed a path that, although I was thinking once I graduated Manhattan High School that I was going to go off and go somewhere else, I think I should have known my destiny was be here at Kansas State. So even when I have my career, I've been at the University of Akron. I spent several years there. I was at the University of Nevada, Reno for a couple of years. And most recently, I was at Iowa State University as their associate director of the union, as well as I spent about 1.5 years, 2 years as their interim director. With that, apparently, it was once again my destiny to come back to Kansas State University, and I'm glad to be here. Coming back, being welcomed by the staff here in the union, the K-State family, the students, has surpassed my expectations, and I look forward to what we're going to be able to accomplish going forward. So thank you all for having me here. You should have a card in front of you with the word honor on the front, and then there's a statement on the back, and you may have already read it, but I want to go ahead and read it to you here. And it is really my commitment to Kansas State, as well as what I may consider a value or a vision statement for the work that me and my team are going to be doing while I'm here. And it says, I'm committed to fostering a culture of honor where we appreciate each other's gifts and values, celebrate you for who you are on your journey towards excellence. And so if there's no other place on campus where a student should feel like they belong, I believe the student union is that place. We do a variety of different things here in the union, but we definitely take pride in the products that we offer, the services that we offer, the programs that are offered here, and more importantly, the relationships that are garnered here, whether it's with students, faculty, staff, or even our team here. We want to make sure that regardless of who you are, what your background is, we want to make sure that you know that this is your home and this is your place, away from where you sleep, a place away from where you work, and also where you go to class. So that's really the vision that I would like to foster here at the union and as part of the K-State family. And so I've been in the process of listening. I'm on kind of a 90-day, 100-day kind of listening tour. I'm going across campus. And so I've identified at least 4 goals that I want to accomplish in the early part of my time here on campus. And so the first goal I've already talked about. I want to be able to engage our K-State family, which would include students, staff, university stakeholders, by just conducting a listening tour. And I really need you all's help in facilitating that tour. You also received my contact information, my contact card. And what I would like from you is I need at least several student organizations or students on campus that you believe it would be beneficial for me to hear from, to listen to spend some time with. And so I'm asking sincerely that you send me at least 2, if not 3, if not 4 students and student organizations that I can connect with. In that, I want you to provide me, if you could, the name of the group, the contact name of the individual that is a part of that group or that oversees that group, their email information, and if you know it, the date and the time in which they regularly meet. And so I will make it my priority to get around to the various student organizations to make sure that they know that they have a resource here in the union. So that's the first thing. Relationship building and listening is my number one priority. Secondly, in the process, it's important for me to collaborate with our diversity and multicultural student affairs staff to support and assist that multicultural center project that is taking place. I believe you all received you should have received an announcement in K-State Today what was it, yesterday morning, of the progress that has been made in that project. I'm fairly new, so I can't take credit for anything that's been done up to this point, but I definitely feel like I want to make sure that I'm a part of it going forward. One of the things that came out in that announcement is that the location that we're looking at for this particular project is adjacent to the student union, on the east side of the student union. And so therefore it's going to be important that we make sure that we are supplementing the services that are going to be offered in the Multicultural Center with the services that are offered in the union, and I'm committed and dedicated to getting that done. Third priority, support the students impacted by the closing of the Hale Library due to the unfortunate circumstances that took place this summer. I've heard a lot of feedback about the impact that that's had on our students. And so just as a quick update on some of the things that the union has put in place or that's been working on to make happen is we have made the meeting rooms that are not being utilized on a daily basis available for study space for students. And so hopefully you've noticed the signage throughout the various entrances in the building, as well as you can obtain information online as it relates to what rooms are available. In addition to that, we also have digital signage with real-time information as it relates to what rooms are open for study in the union. Now, I will share with you a note that made my day, and so I'll pass that around as I talk a little bit more about what the union is doing. Essentially, the note is really just came in today, a note of appreciation for making the rooms available and how it's helped them with their stress management during this time of midterms. In addition to the study spaces, I had an opportunity to respond to a note from Jordan and Lacey as it relates to the whiteboards that were once located in the Hale Library that have been missing for our students. That said, we had a few older whiteboards that we have in stock now that we've placed out. We have at least one whiteboard on every floor in the union, but we've also ordered, I believe, 3 or 4 additional glass boards to be placed out in the building once they arrive. And then also, we've had a strong collaboration with ITAC as well as the library in relation to other services that are being offered. So ITAC has offered to obtain 2 additional smart boards to be placed out in the union as well. In addition to that, we also have around 7 all-in-one computers that will be located on the first floor, or on the ground floor of the union. I don't know if y'all noticed, but the computer lab up here has been fully occupied pretty much any time that I come down to the first floor. And so they're going to provide 7 additional computers. And then they're also providing a checkout kiosk for laptops, which will house around 12 laptop computers as well. And so in collaboration with the library, we're doing everything that we can to make sure that the needs are met. That said, I'm sure that there are other things that we could be doing to help support. The library is very important to the function of our campus, and I'm sure there's other things that the union can be stepping up and helping with. So please, once again, utilize my contact information to let me know what you need there. Let me see here. My 4th priority is addressing what has been brought to my attention as maybe the perceived or very, very much so the lack of affordable food opportunities in the union. Now, I've challenged our team to do some research and say, okay, what is available? And in that, they came back and let me know that we have about 40 entrees in the building that are $5 or below.
Time for the speaker has expired. Is there a motion to extend? Senator King.
Move to extend the speaker's time by 10 minutes. Second.
All right, it's been moved and seconded to extend the speaker's time by 10 minutes. If there are no objections, you have 10 more minutes.
Thank you. It's a great introduction. All right. So that said, I'll use only half of that time. All right. So we have the 40 entrees that are $5 or below. Long story, longer. Areas of opportunity are really beverages and getting the beverage costs down, as well as creating affordable kind of value meal options. And so a couple of quick items that we're doing. Most of you know Just Salads is no longer in the building, but we do have the salad spot. And so we have been working together to come up with some affordable meal options in that space. So you can get a salad for $5 or less there. You can also, I believe we now are offering biscuits and gravy in the salad spot, just as an FYI. So you can check that out as well. But also, our team is working on creating some union value options. And so what we're going to do within the next month, we're going to put a promotion out. Now, I was told $5 is really the price point that that students would like to see. In our research, $5 is a little hard to get to. So we're going to do a $6 and under value menu option that will be made available. And hopefully we can get most of our food venues to offer something at $6 or less. And so we're working on that. You should see a value menu option out once again before the end of the month. So that's our goal. And then we're also going to continue to do more research as it relates to what the opportunities are and what the student needs are. And then hopefully we can come up with a long-term plan to address some of those needs. So with that said, those are a few of the goals and things that we're working on here in the union in the time that I've been here. Obviously, there's much more work to do, but I do appreciate, once again, you allowing me the opportunity to introduce myself and let you know what's happening in the union. Thank you.
All right. Are there any questions for our speaker? Vice President Pitts.
Thanks, Corey, for coming to speak. It's always a joy to hear from you and your emphasis on improving student lives. But I was wondering, really, where do you see the union, in the state that we are in now, where do you see us in 5 years, and what would you most like to change?
Very good. I will say right now in this period, it's very much so a time for me to listen. The reason for that is I don't want to come in with major assumptions as it relates to what the needs are. I really want to hear from our students, and I really want to hear from our faculty and staff of what it is that we need to accomplish. Some of the goals that I've already outlined, I think very much so speaks to that 5-year time frame. That multicultural center, I think, is a very high priority on my list to make sure that we have a collaborative opportunity and make sure that that space has its own identity, but also is very much so connected to what our goal and our mission is at the union. So I would say that's my primary goal or desire to see in the next 5 years. But the other piece is that I really want to see students utilizing this space as a home away from home. I know we've been able to increase traffic, partially due to the fact that the Hale Library circumstance. So we've increased traffic about 10% this year. But I also want this place to be a sticky place and a place that folks feel like they're valued and they're respected here. So those are a couple of items that I really want to see happen within less actually than the next 5 years. So, yeah, thank you.
Further questions? Director Valdez.
Thank you for coming. I really appreciate the talk and just getting to understand where you plan on taking the union. My question is about the price of your value meals. Is that going to negatively affect the other food services that are in the union by reducing the cost? Having less students go to them might drive them out. Is that a concern that you have?
No, the goal here is actually to have a collaborative effort with the options in the union to create an affordable option. So the idea is for our Qdoba, for our Chick-fil-A, all to come together collaboratively to identify options that will fit and meet the needs of our students.
Thank you.
Mm-hmm.
More questions? Director Pick.
Hi, thank you again for coming.
Yes.
And I really like the work being done with more affordable food. And are there also any projects, or are you looking forward to work with students dietary restrictions, for example, like more vegan options or like gluten-free options available to you?
Yeah, absolutely. We want to make sure that we maintain the integrity of the dietary restrictions very much so, if nowhere else, and what we're referring to right now is a salad spot. So we definitely want to maintain the integrity there. And then also, yes, we're more than open to working with our students to identify other opportunities and other options. I believe we have a meeting coming up soon to talk about that very topic. So.
All right, are there any additional questions for our speaker? If not, thank you very much for coming tonight.
Thank you all for your time.
Our next speaker for first open period will be Brian Samuel, our Chief Diversity and Inclusion Officer.
Thank you, Senator Kelly, for having me today. It is my distinct pleasure to speak with all of you as the inaugural Chief Diversity and Inclusion Officer. And many people have said, well, Dr. Samuel, why do you say inaugural? Well, we have had Chief Diversity Officer before, or more specifically an Associate Provost in the Office of Diversity. But that particular individual, or those individuals, my predecessors, were not direct reports to the president and did not serve on the cabinet, and were not charged with looking at the campus holistically, all segments of the university as it relates to diversity and inclusion. And so that's why I refer to my position as the inaugural Chief Diversity and Inclusion Officer. Some of you I've had the distinct pleasure of meeting, working with, many of you in a number of different committees and task force and things of that nature. Others I'm yet to meet, but I hope I will in the near future, or not too distant future. I have 25 years of experience in American higher education, and more specifically diversity and inclusion, whether it is recruiting students, graduating students, programming, guest speakers, lectures, diversity series, engaging community and town gown, fundraising, any aspect of the D&I continuum, I've been involved in it over the course of my career. And I'm very proud about that. I think my experience, having been on 6 campuses now, in some form or fashion in a diversity and inclusion role, coupled with my education and credentials and my practical experience as a Black man, as a first-generation student, as a student from a low socioeconomic background, as a student with a disability, as a student who has many cousins, aunts, and uncles from various race and ethnic backgrounds. When you come to my house for Thanksgiving, you may see anybody. And they are a part of my family just as sure as my mother is, because that's how I was raised, and that's what family is in my family. And I think those experiences helped me very, 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 very deeply be a champion and an advocate for all the campus, all of K-State, for our multicultural students, for our LGBT students, for our first-generation students, our low socioeconomic status students, our students who have accessibility challenges, our students who are internationals, our students who are trying to figure out their way through from one major to the next major, and do all those things to where we can all meaningfully engage one another and have the best environment and the best campus community that we possibly can. And so that's my goal as Chief Diversity and Inclusion Officer, is to be the CDIO for all of Kansas State University. And if you ever feel like I'm not doing that, I encourage all of you to bring that to my attention, because that's what I pride myself on. That's who I am as a person and as a professional. There are a number of things that I would like to share about challenges in higher education and some things that we need to think about. I don't know exactly how much time I have, but I trust you'll let me know, right? Okay. Thinking about diversity and inclusion, one of the most significant challenges that we need to be thinking about holistically as a campus is access and opportunity. We must have more graduates from underserved communities. And when I say underserved, I'm talking rural, I'm talking urban, I'm talking individuals who have not historically had good access and opportunity to American higher education. The only way we can improve our status as a state, as a region, and as a nation is to have more students from all the various backgrounds, with a particular emphasis on underserved backgrounds, graduate from college. A graduation from an institution of higher learning, and more specifically a bachelor's degree, does three things for us. First, you're going to earn more money over your lifetime, and I think most of us understand that better than any other thing, right? That's a big part of why many of us are here, all right? Secondly, things like civic engagement and low crime and volunteering and all those different kind of things go through the roof. When you start thinking about states like Colorado, states like Maryland, states like Minnesota, they enjoy a number of different distinct benefits from American higher education, and more specifically completion of a bachelor's degree, than any other states in the union. Maryland is number one in economics. The amount of money an individual earned in his or her annual salary and over their lifetime. And that's because 38% of all the people in the state of Maryland have at least a bachelor's degree. Minnesota, number one in the country for voting. Number one, 74% of all the residents in the state of Minnesota participate in voting at the local, the state, and national levels. That's because 35% of their residents have at least a bachelor's degree. Colorado, not too far to the west from where we sit today, Colorado enjoys the highest rate of adult literacy and adult skills than any state in the union. And that's because 34% of their residents have at least a bachelor's degree. So if we really want to make some meaningful impact for Manhattan, for Kansas, for this region, the technology prairie, or all these things that we have in our minds, we got to get more people in school and across the stage. It's just that simple. And when you do that, you're going to see stuff like crime go down. You're going to see stuff like poverty go down. You're going to see things like health disparities go down. Food deserts are going to go down. And all these things make for a better quality of living for each and every one of us. We must have policies that influence campus climate. We got to review things and see what's working, what's not working. When was the last time we revised the policy? Some of us see our principles of community, for example, as a declaration of anti-discrimination. And so many students across this very campus, when something happens, they go file a complaint. And when a complaint comes in and there's no finding of discrimination, we don't know what to think. We come down on our campus like the campus doesn't love us. They don't want us here. They don't value us. But the truth of the matter is, the principle of a community is not a policy. It's aspirational. It's who we want to be. It's what it means to be a member of this community. But it's not a policy. We have to help our students, our staff, and administrators in our broader community understand those things and find those places where we can make some meaningful change in addition to make our campus climate everything that we desire for it to be. As leaders, I and my peers and our faculty and staff and people like Mr. Corey, we must acknowledge the real changes and issues on our campus. Microaggressions, systemic barriers, the definition of excellence and what does that really look like for a particular individual. We must advocate for all populations, and we must listen to diverse perspectives and act on behalf of marginalized voices. We have to do those things. I gave a talk about 2 weeks ago on what matters to me and why. Did anyone attend that September the 6th in here? No? Okay. Well, I talked about my experience. I made a 12 on the ACT. Raise your hand if you did better than a 12. And this is where everybody hand go up, right? And they stay there. No, I'm kidding. Right. I made a 12. And I got an opportunity to appeal my rejection to the University of Tennessee at Chattanooga. And when I got an opportunity to appeal, I talked about all the challenges and issues that I came through living in a housing project, being raised by a single mother, being poor, indigent. And back then, we had to pay for financial aid. We had to pay for application. Everything cost money, and we had no money. And it was because I got to write an appeal letter and help people understand that my 12 on the ACT and my 2.3 grade point average was every bit as good as some people's 4.0. People who did not have to go through some of the struggles that I had to do. People who did not have to walk to class in the rain or in the cold or in the snow. If class was not canceled, we had to walk to school 2 miles every day. And if we didn't walk, we were said to not care about our education. Our peers who lived in the county, they got a ride on the yellow bus. And they got a ride no matter what the weather was like. But those reports, I'm sorry.
Time for our speakers expired. Is there a motion to extend? Senator DeMoranville.
I move we extend the speaker's time by 10 minutes. Okay.
It's been moved and seconded to extend the speaker's time by 10 minutes. If there are no objections, you have 10 more minutes.
All right, I'll be quick. Anyway, I was successful in that appeal, and ultimately, even though I made a 12 on ACT, and every institution said I would never graduate, here I am with a bachelor's, a master's, and a doctorate degree. And some of those policies, many of those procedures did nothing but serve as barriers to access and opportunity and keep good, talented people who could be well done and well serving in our institutions out. We have to look at those things and make sure that that does not happen here on this campus. And with that, I'll skip to some things that I've been working on. Some of the priorities that have been set for me and things that I've been asked to do as Chief Diversity Officer include a campus climate survey. We last did one in 2015. I'm working with many facets of the campus on what is the best forward direction for doing a new campus climate survey. We're also working on accessibility, trying to make sure that our campus emerges as one of the best places, being holistically accessible to all students, faculty, staff, and guests of this university. We need to be on that list. We're working on revising the diversity plan. And as many of you know, Tuesday will be the second rendition of our KS Unite event, which is our signature event around diversity and inclusion. And though we do not have some of the tensions and issues that we had in 2017, it is equally, if not more important, that we continue our march now more than ever as a proactive investment in our campus and in our community. I encourage all of you to come out. I encourage you to bring a friend. Tell your faculty member you need to be there. Not only do you need to be there, but you need to bring your faculty members and other staff along too, because we have to do this all together. We got a lot to be proud of on this campus. And a part of my goals is to also look at this entire campus and figure out where we are and deliver what I am calling a State of Diversity address sometime in the spring, perhaps January or February. And as I said, we got a lot to be proud of. We got a HEED award for a 5th year. Our BSU is among the best in the Big 12 for 12 or 13 last years. We're a top 50 institution for the LGBT community. Our retention and graduation rates of underrepresented minority is at its all-time high. We graduated 685 underrepresented minorities in 2018, the highest ever in K-State's history. We are doing a lot of good things, and the world needs to know about that. And as long as I'm CDIO, I plan to make sure they know about it, okay? And having said all of that, we cannot be happy and satisfied with those accomplishments. There's more work to be done. The national average for underrepresented minority graduation is somewhere around 40 to 45%. Institutions that are doing a good job, they're at 65 to 75%. So we got a ways to go. We also got to broaden how we think about diversity. it's first generation, it's socioeconomic status, it's low income, it is LGBT, it's accessibility, it's religion, it's rural, it's urban, it's all those things that make our educational experience deeper and richer and help prepare us for what we call global citizenry. And having said that, again, my goal is to be a CDIO for the entire campus community, all populations, and all marginalized voices. And with that, I'll take any questions you have.
All right, are there any questions for our speaker? Senator Cole.
Dr. Samuel, I just wanted to say thank you so much for coming to speak with us. I know you're a busy human, and I really appreciate you taking time. I feel like something that's really obvious is that the rising cost of tuition is preventing access to higher education in the state of Kansas, and you stated very clear reasons why access to education is very important. So what policies are you trying to implement that's going to make education accessible here at K-State?
Wow. You know, a lot of state institutions across the country have gone to these admission standards that have increased the grade point average or ACT score and some of these other kind of things. Many states are utilizing holistic admission review processes. Some states and some institutions aren't even using ACT and SAT scores any longer. I don't know what's right for K-State. I really don't. I can tell you that we are going to explore every option. We have a new strategic enrollment management plan that's under the auspices of Dr. Bosco and his admission team, and we will be working very diligently to figure it out. We also know that fewer and fewer of Kansas graduates are going to college, right? So that means we got to be looking for some students in other places we haven't historically looked, you know, out of state. I was a coordinator for multicultural recruitment in the state of Nebraska, probably about 14, 15 years ago. It's been a while. And during that time, we were already extending in-state tuition to students from Kansas and Colorado and Iowa and all the contiguous states around Nebraska. We were doing that in 2000, almost 20 years ago. So we got to rethink some things. Some things that work for other institutions in other states may not work for us, but you know, we'll have to be creative and strategic about whatever it is that we move forward with.
All right, are there any additional questions for our speaker? Vice President Pitts.
Yeah, Dr. Samuel, thanks for coming again to speak. A lot of students have raised the question, and it's also been a Collegian article, of why should students attend KS Unite this year? If it's it's a second KS Unite, a lot feel that it might be redundant to last year. And as we publicize and we advocate for KS Unite, what could we tell students when they raise that concern to us?
You can tell students that KS Unite is a signature event for this campus. It is a trend-setting, leading initiative across the campus. We have had more institutions call us about, I mean, first of all, let's understand, we canceled classes and we closed offices. You know how hard that is to do? You know how many institutions across this country have been willing to do anything like that? Not very many. In fact, I only know of one, and you are enrolled at that institution. Okay? That's huge, monumental. We are instantly a national leader in strategies and initiatives around diversity and inclusion simply because we took that giant step. I also think that under no circumstances are we at a place to where we can think that all the challenges and issues that brought forward KS Unite in 2017 have been addressed. I also think unapologetically that it's always better to invest in your campus and in your community before a problem occurs than it is to try to address something after it has already happened. We are investing in our community. We have numerous opportunities to engage with philanthropists and scholars and attorneys and people who got good skill and knowledge and information about all these issues. Every session that's offered on Tuesday is tied to the demands of students. We got microaggressions and cultural competencies. We got first generation students. We got free speech, which I don't know about you, but many students on this campus and across the country care a lot about free speech. And everybody is in favor of the First Amendment, but they also want to be respected and valued. So how do we do that? These are very important topics in very complex times. So we must keep this conversation and this dialogue going. We are better for it. And I can't, again, encourage every one of you to attend. I can't make you, but we sure would love to have you there.
Further questions for our speaker tonight? All right, seeing none, thank you very much for coming tonight. With that, are there any more speakers for first open period? All right, if not, we will move into first roll call.
Adams. Albers. Here. Armstrong. Here. Arnoldi. Here. Belk. Here. Bergston. Bolar. Bothwell.
Here.
Bowen. Brown.
Here.
Carpenter.
Here.
Cole.
Here.
Timor Enville.
Here.
Dunfield.
Here.
Esses.
Here.
Filbert.
Here.
Gammon.
Here.
Grover.
Here.
Gupta.
Here.
Hammond. Harp.
Here.
Heatherman.
Here.
Hildreth.
Here.
Huffman.
Here.
Javin.
Here.
Karamali.
Here.
Kidd. King.
Here.
Kulkarni.
Here.
Leverett.
Here.
Mari.
Here.
Morgan.
Here.
Neatery.
Here.
Orth.
Here.
Warzakowski.
Here.
Pelton.
Here.
Penny.
Here.
Porter. Riffle.
Here.
Roman.
Here.
Smith.
Here.
Spellman.
Here.
Spencer.
Here.
Sullivan.
Here.
Tile.
Here.
Thompson.
Here.
Chumland.
Here.
Wessel.
Here.
Wilhelm.
Here.
Whitmer.
Here.
And Yogunadon. And directors Boyd. Clark. Cruz. Gordson.
Here.
Jennings.
Here.
Pick.
Here.
Lundeen. Marshall. McIntosh. McKenzie. Minu.
Yeah.
Pasteur. Sedlacek.
Here.
Tuttle.
Here.
Underwood.
Here.
Valdez.
Here.
And Works. All right, there are 44 senators present, 2 senators excused, and 5 senators absent.
With that, we will now move into the approval of the minutes. Is there a motion to approve the minutes from last week? Senator Wilhelm.
I move to approve the minutes. Second.
All right, it's been moved and seconded that we approve the minutes. If there are no objections, the minutes are approved. We'll now move into announcements for the week. First, as Dr. Samuel mentioned, KSU Night will be this Tuesday, October 9th. Please assist us in spreading the word to students about attending the event. The full schedule for the day can be found at the link provided in the agenda. Second, during College Caucus time, we will make buttons to promote KSU Night on behalf of KSU SGA. Button makers, blank buttons, templates, and scissors will all be provided to each caucus. Additionally, I will provide some further instruction once we get to caucus time. Communications Director Jack Jennings will be taking pictures throughout to post on the K-State social medias. Proxies for tonight, Kulkarni for Yoganandan, Neatery for Bergston, Penny for Hammond, and Roman for Porter. SGA Member of the Week this week is Caucus Leader Ayana Belk for commending the accomplishments of the College of Architecture, Planning, and Design. So if we could give her a round of applause. And the quote of the week this week is, "The best way to find yourself is to lose yourself in the service of others." Mahatma Gandhi. We will now move into commendations. Is there a motion to consider Resolution 15? Chair Carpenter.
I move to consider Resolution 15. Second.
All right, it's been moved and seconded to consider Resolution 15. Will the author please come forward?
So before I get started, I just want to say that what I'm reading is actually different from what you guys are seeing. It's like version 2.0. There's 10 more names that were added to that list because they attended the meeting tonight. We just had to submit the legislation by Monday to make sure that it got on the docket for tonight. So you'll hear me reading names that aren't actually in the agenda, but that's going to be like updated later tonight for the second version. Will be the one that we're like actually passing. So. Resolution 18-1915, Commendation to Class 1 of the SGA Intern Program by Nathan Bothwell and Sadie Polson. Whereas, according to the Kansas State University Student Governing Association website, the passion behind the Student Governing Association Intern Program is educating and preparing students to become future leaders across the legislative, judicial, and executive branches of SGA. Whereas, meetings for Class 1 of the 2018 through 2019 SGA Intern Program were held every Thursday from September 6th until October 4th at 5:45 p.m. in Wildcat Chamber. Whereas meetings covered information about the executive, legislative, and judicial branches, as well as how to file for elections or apply for office. Whereas interns were able to listen to and ask questions of current members of SGA, including the SGA advisors, student body president, speaker of the Student Senate, and the SGA Attorney General. Whereas interns participated in activities to help them engage with various parts of SGA, including committee meetings, Senate meetings, executive branch platform brainstorming, and judicial hearings. Whereas all students at Kansas State University were invited and welcome to attend Phase 1 meetings, and whereas 39 students attended 3 out of 5 Phase 1 meetings, allowing them to be eligible for the Phase 2 application. Be it resolved that Section 1, Kansas State University Student Governing Association, commends Class 1 of the SGA Intern Program for their interest and commitment to serving as a 2018-2019 SGA intern. Section 2, KSU SGA commends the following members of Class 1 for attending a majority of Phase 1 meetings: Faisal Almadani, Tyler Blocklinger, Andrew Booz, Andrea Bruna, Fisher Carr, Aaron Colasico, Lily Colburn, Aaron Galloway, Creighton Glasscock, Jackson Glesner, Julia Gross, Kinsey Harlan, Colin Heimerman, Bianca Hernandez, Alan Hines, Annalie Hobbs, Carissa Jonak, Cameron Jones, Maria Kimsey, Corey Nisley, Trey Coleman, Emily Matos, Reed Middleton, Matthew Mohan, Jackson Moore, Noah Oxner, Peyton Peterson, Chelsea Phillips, Callie Panitsky, Ethan Rice, Jasmine Roy Cavedo, Lala Schroeder, Alyssa Scott, Corey Sitek, Riley Sleichter, Sierra Statz, Maria Truskowski, Sarah Wallace, Jackson Willis. Section 3. Upon passage by the Student Senate and signature of the Student Body President, a copy of this resolution shall be sent to all SGA interns who attended a majority of Phase 1 meetings.
All right, with that, are there any questions or corrections for the author? Seeing none, is there a motion on this resolution? Caucus Leader Spencer.
I motion to approve this resolution. Unanimously.
All right, it's been moved and seconded to approve this resolution unanimously. If there are no objections, this resolution is approved unanimously. If we could give the interns a round of applause. We will now move into committee reports. Are there any committee chairs who would like to give a report? Chair Penny.
If you need to do some other ones, I'll do them. Yeah, of course. Yeah, sure. Okay, sweet. So, my name is Nancy Penny. I served as a privileged fee chair this year, and one of my goals was to educate Senate a little bit more on privilege fee. So we're gonna run through it tonight really quick, and it shouldn't take too long. So, I'm just gonna give you like privilege fee 101. So we're gonna go over what is a privilege fee, look at the breakdown of the fee, what the review cycle looks like, and then what your role can be with privilege fee as well. So the privilege fee is student funded, approved, and used. So every Monday night we meet and talk to different entities around campus who are funded by the privilege fee that we will see later. And the committee is made up of solely students. There is 8 senators and 3 at-large members, which we just got the other year. And And so on top of tuition, you and I all pay $444 a semester, and that line item is for the privilege fee. So that's $888 a year this year, and it's totaling $16 million. And something that's really important to point out, if any of you have any experience on any allocations committee, it works completely different from that. With the way that allocation works, they're given a set amount of money, and they're told for that year, divvy it up around clubs and organizations in that way. Privilege fee is completely different in the fact that it is a floating fee. The decisions that we make in that room and that all of us vote on during Senate this year will directly affect your bottom line next year. So it can go up, it can go down. This past year, privilege fee went up by about $13. So these are all the different places that this $16 million a year goes to. And I know it is pretty small print, but I just kind of want to show the breakup. And you'll notice three big sections in there. I call those the big three. That's the student union, health services with Lafine, and the K-State rep. And those all get anywhere between $4 and $6 million per year. Then there's another 12 to 14 scattered around that also receive money. Some of those including us here with SGA, Center for Student Involvement, KSDB, the Collegian, and counseling services as well. So all these different entities do not come in every single year to us. They're broken up into 3 different groups. So there's 3-year cycles that they will come in and present. So this year we have the privilege of seeing the Student Union, Campus Entertainment Fund, Union Program Council, and SGA later on as well. So the way that this works, when they come in, they have 3-year cycles, and it's also on a 3-week rotation as well. On week 1, the director of whatever center it is will come in and present to the privilege fee. They'll go over everything from the foundation of what they even do to getting in the nitty-gritty of their finances and showing us their revenues and costs and really letting us dive deep into that. On that second week that we meet, we go over questions and any discussion with them. So some of those questions are really basic, us just trying to understand what they do. For instance, we were with Student Design Services this past 3 weeks, and we were trying to figure out who all they serve, how many people they serve, where exactly their money is going with the program, the cost of computers, the depreciation, and all that good stuff. And then on that third week is when we meet and debate and vote on a final outcome from privilege fee. Something that I think is really neat about privilege fee as well too is the entities will come in with a request of how much they want. So as for Student Design Services, they get $65,000 a year, and they came in and asked us for that same amount of money allotted each year, but we get to make the choice whether they need more, that same amount, less, or we even have the power to totally cut them off as well. But we can do all different things to the privilege fee, which is pretty neat. But there's also a lot of accountability as well through privilege fee, since we are allocating $16 million a year. So every single year, every one of those 15 entities submits an annual report. So we can kind of have the baseline on their budget, where that money is going, if there's any big changes with them. There's also contracts that are signed by eight different people, and those are binding. So if anyone breaks their part in that contract, they will immediately have to come back to privilege fee, and we will talk about what adjustments need to be made there. And thirdly is audits. Every third year, every entity is also audited. And after reading those audits, they will catch.
Time for the speaker has expired. Is there a motion to extend? Senator Neatery.
I move we extend the speaker's time of 10 minutes. 5 minutes.
Is there a second? Okay. It's been moved and seconded to extend the speaker's time by 5 minutes. If there are no objections, you may have 5 more minutes.
Yeah, so all those audits will catch any of these small things, and so this is just one of the ways that we ensure the money that we are paying students is being utilized in the correct way. So one question that I got a lot this summer, and I want to clear it up right here, was like questioning, so why is the privilege fee going down if we don't have Pale this year or part of next year? And the big answer to that is because Hale gets no money through the privilege fee. So if you have any friends who are asking that question, why they aren't saving any money on their tuition when we don't have a huge building like Hale, as far as privilege fee, it's because it's not funded at all. So what can you do? You guys can come to Privilege Fee Committee on Monday nights at 5:30 in the CSI conference room. We are starting a new cycle here on Monday, so it's a perfect time to jump in. We are reviewing Campus Entertainment Fund, which is $150,000 a year that goes to putting on big performances here on campus. And so that'll be really fun and kind of start that from the beginning. Is there any questions?
Are there any questions for Chair Penny? Senator Gupta.
So that $444, is that a flat fee or is that based on like 12 credit hours or something?
Yeah, that is a great question. So every student here at K-State who takes 6 or more hours pays that $444 a semester. If you pay less than that, then it solely steps down per credit hour. So grad students who are also taking 6 credit hours are also paying that full fee. And there is a few exceptions to that as well. For students, if you live outside of the 30-mile radius of campus, and one other stipulation, you do not have to pay that full fee as well. So there is exceptions to this as well.
All right, are there any more questions for Chair Penny? All right, if not, are there any more committee chair reports? Chair Spellman.
Okay, I'll make it short. So I have actually been in contact with a representative from Young Invincibles. Young Invincibles is a nonpartisan, nonprofit organization, and what they manage is what they call Students Learn, Students Vote. One of the projects that they've been working on is kind of getting college students and organizations involved in a party at the polls. So we have the opportunity, and the funding's not secured yet, but we have the opportunity to apply for a mini grant, and we have almost $1,000 to throw a party at the polls. So I am looking for ideas on getting this party organized and kind of getting it figured out, location, entertainment, food, getting all the little details. That way we can go to this organization, say, hey, we have a plan, we have ideas, let's make this happen. So if you have any ideas, we're looking to possibly have it at the foundation. So one of the precincts for K-State, or the precinct for K-State, is going to be the Denison Fire Station. So everyone that's registered, say like people at the dorms, they'll go to the fire station and they're going to vote. Right across the street is where we're hoping to throw that party. So hopefully we'll have a lot of people come out, hoping to get maybe a couple organizations for like local bands, on the spot, like improv groups. So if you have any ideas, I am open to any of them. Just let me know. I'll stick around after Senate. So I stand for questions.
All right, any questions for Chair Spellman? Vice President Pitts.
I'm full of questions today. What are the rules for having events? Aren't there some kind of rules for having events close to the polls?
Yeah. I yield my time to Director Slawczak.
Yeah, so that would be called electioneering, and the state of Kansas prohibits a 250-foot radius around the entrance to polls.
We are right outside that.
Nice, okay.
Further questions for Chair Spellman? All right, seeing none, are there any more committee reports? Speaker Pro Tempore Arnoldi.
I don't have a regular committee like everyone else, but I'm here to give you guys an update on Diversity Programming Committee. So we have been meeting for the last 3 weeks to go over funding for large projects that are intended to dissuade prejudice and discrimination on campus. So for those of you who haven't heard of Diversity Programming Committee before, That's what we do. We have a budget of $175,000, and we allocate projects that have a budget higher than $3,000. So we review some very large projects and then allocate money and funds to those projects as well. Something very unique about how DPC works is we work on a quarter system. So if you divide the academic year into 4 sections, then they apply for funds like within those quarters. So we just got done reviewing the cycle for the quarter starting in the middle of October until the end of the year. So we just reviewed applications for that time frame. We reviewed 3 projects, and 2 of those projects were funded by DPC. The projects that were funded came from the Kansas State University Qualitative Research Student Organization and also the Indian Student Association. That's really all I had. I just wanted to give you guys an update on what we were doing, and I'll stand for questions.
Any questions for Speaker Pro Tempore Arnoldi? Caucus Leader Belk.
Where is like the application for that, and what exactly? When you say that you fund things that like promote diversity stuff, would that include like projects or just like events?
Yeah, so projects and events. The application for that is on the. So if you go to OrgSync, there's like a group called Resources for Student Organizations, and there's a form on there specifically for Diversity Programming Committee. So I believe it is open to all student organizations on campus. Registered student organizations on campus can apply for these funds. But yeah, they're open to all projects and events happening on campus. We don't do any traveling, but we do projects on campus that are open to all students. Yeah. Did that answer all your question?
All right, further questions for the speaker? Seeing none, are there any more committee reports? If not, are there any director's reports? Director Tuttle.
Hello, everyone. I just really quickly wanted to promote Legislative Advocates. As State Relations Director, I'm in charge of this committee, and Legislative Advocates is a nonpartisan organization that advocates for K-State's interest in Topeka at the Capitol. And so things that we do include talking to relevant legislators, represent K-State's interests on State Higher Ed Day, advocating for relevant legislation, things like that. So you guys should all think about applying. The application goes live on Monday, October 8th at noon. So a little preemptive, but I was really excited about it. I wanted to put it on you guys' radar. So Monday, you guys should apply. It'll be great.
All right, with that, are there any questions for Director Tuttle? Senator King.
Where can we go to apply?
So you'll just go to SGA's page under forms. It'll just be 2018-2019 Legislative Advocates application.
Further questions, Vice President Pitts.
When do those forms close?
So they're opening on Monday, October 8th, and they're closing October 26th. It's a Friday at 5 p.m.
Are there any more questions for Director Tuttle? All right, seeing none, are there any more director's reports? Director Underwood.
Hey guys, last week I talked to you about the Green Action Fund, and as of now, I have 5 of 7 committee members filled on the Green Action Fund. The only 2 that I am left with are 2 that are required our bylaws. We are required to have 1 senator on the committee and 1 intern, and those are the only 2 that I have not yet filled. So I have sent out another email right before the meeting started, and after Senate has closed, I will be in the foyer. If anybody, if pulling up the email is too hard, you can just come talk to me if you have any questions, or and I will have my laptop out, and you can fill out that form right there. With that, I have yielded to questions.
All right, are there any questions for Director Underwood? Coordinator Bothwell.
I believe that the intern requirement was struck out in Bill 77, the restructuring the intern program last year. So I'm going to come talk to you after the meeting.
Perfect. Are there any other questions? Thanks.
All right, with that, are there any more director's reports? Director Mohan Kumar.
Okay, so I'm the International Affairs co-director, and then I'm here to talk about the International Immersion Workshop series that we are planning for international students. So the main reason to do this is when they come in fall, like they usually come in July and August, and then we have Wildcat warm-up for new students, but for international students, we don't have anything like that. So we actually planned 2 workshops this semester, one with international buddies and collaborating with diversity and multicultural student life, and then International Student Center. It was a very successful event. And then we also planned another workshop series with International Student and Scholar Services. So we are planning to include this workshop series for the international orientation from next year. So yeah, any questions?
Are there any questions for the speaker? All right, if not, are there any more director's reports? Coordinator Bothwell.
So real quick, just an update. Like we passed that commendation earlier tonight, and that was actually because tonight was the last night of the first class of the intern program. So in 2 weeks, we are actually starting phase 1 again. So hopefully are gonna have a bunch more new faces. I'm just letting you all know right now, be on the lookout. I'm gonna be sending out the nomination link that we did a couple months ago. Do it again. It's been some months. Hopefully you've met some new people in your classes, people you think that'd be great for SGA. So please send them our way. We'd really love to have them. Other than that, any of you who have told us that you are interested in being mentors, Sadie and I are gonna talk more about this next week, but we should hopefully by next week have your mentees available for you, so you'll know what that program is going to be looking like. But just giving you a little update on that.
All right, with that, are there any questions for Coordinator Bothwell? All right, seeing none, are there any more director's reports? Director Sedlacek.
All right, just one quick thing that I'm really excited about. So the Safe Ride program, which hasn't been going on in September, starts tonight. So if you need a safe ride home no matter where you are, the routes are new and updated so that it's not just outside Aggieville, it's through all different student housing hubs, and the routes are available on Google Maps, so you can figure out your ride home. Stand for questions.
Are there any questions for Director Sedlacek? Chief of Staff Moore.
Where does the Safe Ride bus currently pick up?
It currently picks up the main stop is right outside Rally House in Aggieville. And then it picks you up from various stops. So it's not just there, but that's the main stop.
Further questions? Coordinator Bothwell.
How late does that go?
It starts at 11 and ends at 3. It's Thursday, Friday, Saturday evenings.
All right, are there any more questions for Director Sedlacek? All right, seeing none, are there any more director's reports? Director Valdez.
Okay, guys, I don't know if you know, but October is Cybersecurity Awareness Month, and since last year we had 10% of the university get hacked through phishing scams, I think it's really important that I educate you about how not to get hacked. So I have some tips. First, raise your hand if you've ever been hacked before. Okay, not that many. That's good. Thank you. Good. Don't get hacked. So I'm gonna go through some very simple tips on how to not get hacked. So first of all, don't respond to any phishing scams. And it's really easy. It's really easy to not respond, guys. First, check the grammar. It's usually really off and has some weird signature and has some sketchy address. Some of them look legit. So if you're questioning it, you can actually cross-reference the email address with the K-State white pages. If it doesn't match up, then just delete the email. If you do click on the website, don't actually log in, please. Seriously, please. Another one, there's a lot of companies getting hacked, which is actually really serious. Last year there was Equifax. Just recently, Chegg got hacked, and a bunch of people's passwords got released. So raise your hand if you use a very similar password on multiple websites. Yeah, guys, come on. All right, now raise your hand if you've used any of these passwords. Password, the whole key, any of the rows on the top of the keyboard, either numbers or QWERTY or ASDF whatever it is. Like, raise your hand if you ever used any of those as your password. Oh, I'm proud. Kayla.
It's my Wi-Fi password. I want something to
Kayla, that's even worse. Okay, change those if you still have them, please. Good. Okay. Also use two-factor authentication, because even if they get your password, they also have to go through another layer of security, which is pretty secure. And also, don't visit sketchy websites. You know what I'm talking about. But a really easy way to determine if they're sketchy. No, that's not what I meant, guys. Get your minds out of the gutter. Okay. An easy way to tell if there's sketchy websites. If you open up a new Chrome window, on the right of the refresh button, there's going to be a little green lock. If that's not there, you shouldn't be on that website. Stop laughing. I'm not talking about those websites. Yeah. Don't use Internet Explorer. It's not like a cybersecurity tip. It's just don't use it. But yeah, seriously. If you ever think that you've gotten hacked, make sure you change your password ASAP. And if you think your bank got hacked, as soon as you can, you should contact them and have them freeze all of your accounts, because you can lose a lot of money. I actually heard a story when someone lost over $15,000. That's 15 with 3 zeros at the end, because they got hacked. So don't get hacked. It's actually really serious. They can get a hold of your social security numbers, your bank accounts, your credit reports. Don't get hacked. Question.
Time has expired for the speaker. Is there a motion to extend? Chair Carpenter.
Move to extend the speaker's time by 5 minutes. No, it's fine. He's doing this.
We're good.
So no motion. Okay. Are there any questions for Director Valdez? Chief of Staff Moore.
Are there any offices on campus doing like campaigns or anything that we should be aware of to help promote to students regarding cybersecurity?
Not that I'm aware of. The Faculty Senate Committee on Technology is planning on having like cybersecurity audit, where they're just going to send out emails to everybody and have them do a quick quiz on how well they know their cybersecurity stuff. But if you think you've gotten hacked or someone has gotten a hold of your K-State email, you can go to ITAC, which is Information Technology Assistance Center. Used to be in the library. Now they're in Katz Den in the second floor. That's the gas station. Not the gas station. The convenience store I'm thinking about. Sorry. They're upstairs, second floor, over by like the massage chairs. Yeah, they're really good.
All right. Further questions for Director Valdez. Senator Brown.
Will you know if you get hacked?
Yeah, if you can't log into your stuff and you're pretty sure you have the right password, then yeah. Or if you got an email from the service saying that your password got changed, or if they keep requesting that your password is to be changed, yeah, there's really easy ways to tell. But sometimes you might not be able to notice because they're going to be very low key. A lot of times they'll just get your information and then sell it to other people. That's how a lot of advertising agencies get a hold of your information, FYI.
All right. Further questions for Director Valdez. Director Sedlacek.
How often should I be changing my passwords?
So actually, it's more recommended that you have a very strong password instead of changing your password frequently, because the more you change your password, the more often you have to change your password, the less likely you're going to be to have a strong password. So it's better to have a password that's really strong than to change your password frequently. But you can change it if it's really strong, say over 15 letters. Yeah, 15 letters and a combination of numbers, special characters. You can change it 6 months or a year. That's how often. But good question.
Follow up.
Granted.
So if I don't have that strong, how often should I be changing?
You can honestly use a password manager, and that's what I would recommend, is use a password manager like the password manager that Google Chrome has to store your passwords, and just have really strong passwords so that you're less likely to get hacked.
Are there any more questions for Director Valdez? Senator Neatery.
Can Google Chrome's password manager get hacked?
So actually, it cannot, because the Google Chrome password managers are actually stored onto your local browser, which they would have to hack into your Google account, which if that's very secure, which I would recommend that your Google account should be one of the most secure things that you have, because your Google Drive's on there.
Time for questions has expired. Is there a motion to extend? All right, seeing none, thank you, Director Valdez. Are there any? All right, are there any more directors' reports? Chief of Staff Moore.
I'll make this brief because I'm not as entertaining as Victor, but I did just want to give a brief report that Jordan and I had the opportunity to present at the annual NACADA conference in Phoenix earlier this week. It was actually on Tuesday. For those of you not aware, NACADA is the Global Community for Academic Advising. So it's basically a conference where they had over 3,600 attendees, administrators, advisors, or anybody that works pretty much in the fields of student success. We got a lot of really great ideas and takeaways from the sessions we attended, just a few highlights. Some late night or Skype advising appointments, ways to organize professional development organizations on campus for advisors, screencast videos that walk students through the process of enrollments or running a DARS report, things that advisors spend a lot of time in individual meetings going over, as well as ideas for the Student Resource Link, which is one of Jordan and Lacey's platforms. Another big thing that I wanted to talk about related to NACADA, but not necessarily the conference, is the DARS report. Have any of you run a DARS within the past few days? Yes. Did you notice that there was a new layout, user interface? Good, thumbs up. Is it working better? So that's an initiative that was started last spring with Olivia Ballman, then Vice President, as well as then Technology Director Andrew McKittrick. They worked with the Registrar's Office, and I was involved in those meetings, and basically making just that site prettier, easier to use, and it involves instruction. So it's a lot easier for students now to realize that there's multiple reports they can run, such as if they want to look at changing their major, how do their current classes line up with that, K-State 8 requirements, or just the classes you need. So definitely check that out. Tell other students that it's easier to look at now. And then Victor is currently working on a few other changes that will be coming in the next few weeks, hopefully. So if you have any suggestions for improvement, please direct those to Victor to communicate to the Registrar's Office and IT.
All right, with that, are there any questions for Chief of Staff Moore? Director Sedlacek.
So the what if function on the old DARS, is that now the Explore New program?
Yes.
Okay.
Which makes a lot more sense for students, I would think, to do a different major. Another big change they made there was before when you click the what if box, you brought up and it was like program, and then you had to go into this box that had a bunch of different codes that were not really easy to figure out what college you were selecting or what program. And now it's super easy. It says select the college, select the degree type, and then it actually has the program name as we talk about them instead of the registrar's code.
Are there any more questions for the speaker? All right, seeing none, are there any more directors' reports for this evening? If not, we will now move into college caucus time. I hope everybody brought their pair of scissors today. We will be making some buttons for KS Unite. Kind of as Dr. Samuel mentioned, we really want SGA to promote this event all across campus by distributing these buttons and flyers as well on the day of the event. So when you guys break out into your college caucuses, if our caucus leaders, Senate, if you could be quiet for just 2 minutes. If our college caucus leaders could grab a stack of handouts of KS Unite buttons, as well as a bag of blank buttons, and then a button compressor maker, and take it to caucus, that would be great. And also, we would like to have a discussion piece about the importance of KS Unite, and your caucus leaders have those questions as well. So with that, I hope you all enjoy your college caucus time.
How did you go about that process?
So I was the one that didn't access counselors because she had worked at hospitals and so we knew each other. But there was last year we never advisor like
advisors and stuff for them, like there's really not a way to know having a process of like running right now. So what other classes?
I'm in history, so I've always been history. Intensity of it,
Yeah, I actually will never. My dad growing up, like, I spent over 7 nights in college. Some discussion questions.
I get into freshmen, so like, I started taking they tend to qualitative science, which that was pretty interesting. It wasn't off the top of my head. It's a lot more math intensive, so that caught me off guard. And then chemistry too. And yeah, those are big classes.
Is it?
Chem too.
So how was getting more classes for credit here? You always have that.
Yeah. In my
Did you prefer to have like 4 years?
I think because there's a lot of so there's like 40 people. So there's really not much in there.
Where are your family? Okay.
Yeah, I knew like 4 people.
Yeah. Well, how did you find out about students?
I went to club meetings when you were first having them, and then Brian and I talked about this and transfer. I was interested in SBA just because I try to get like Utah.
One of the positions we have on cabinet specifically is like a transfer student. Is that something? Sounds like your class practice on this one. I know a lot of people. That's fine. He sounded like he was like, no.
Or at least I think we've been introduced.
Okay. Yeah, that's right. They're all It's hard. That's okay. You have like a
yeah. I pretty much like everything over like sectioned out by like time. Yeah, that's where they trace the deal with. Yeah, so just as the word from like the chemistry, after what there's a lot of areas that I can't actually yeah, I'm able to yeah, so we were trying to figure out some of the there's only like some
Oh, we were close.
yeah, they've been trying their best. Oh, wait.
Yeah. No, that's not weird. That's so weird.
Are they like opposite gender twins? Oh my god.
That's great. Hold on. Don't we have to say first? I mean, I heard it was a little, but I
The desk are over the ground, so I usually can't actually sit. Say like history for first like 3 weeks, I say like right at the front.
We have free help.
Well, I don't have a plastic card, so I can't do anything else.
You get to work.
It's not. We've got something. It's not. So like all like usually like a button bar and we first
Does anyone know how to use button machine?
Where's Johnson Jones? Jonathan is doing his job. He was doing these earlier in Ryan's office, so he knows how to do it. You are?
5:30 to 6:30.
When?
In the morning.
Do you not know how to do it? You are in the morning.
You're the pro temp, right?
No. We have a button. I swear to God. What is wrong with you? Give a sign. We have a button. I repeat, we have a button.
How did you? What?
She is a completely different one.
What the heck?
I didn't know how this works. I guess how this one works.
Oh dear.
Yeah, so.
Let's just do things. Now it's water. Oh dear. It's gonna explode once it opens it.
that
Oh my gosh, hey, we made this more difficult because they have certain
I'm not saying they're not.
I don't know, this is my fault. I'm so sorry. Honestly, look at the scissors. No, this thing is broken.
That's fake. That's fake. I just think, listen, I have no recollection of this thing happening. What? Fake news, yeah. I distinctly don't remember it happening. And then it was just a drink. Just a drink.
Shut up! Get out of here!
That's basically like say if you're going to go to a friend's house, Cardinal Smith, right there, right back.
We have this really dumb one.
I'm already practicing it, so it's a little great on my
It's not working.
Automated well.
The entire show she's breathing.
I think so. What's that? Yeah.
It's okay if there's a little white.
I do. I can't invest my
And then
I drink the alcohol.
my family has stuff, so we watch them play with friends and stuff. There's like yeah, also if you have something like and I'm a really big history buff. I like history, and it's like you have a point of version. So man, my castle is really dark. Like the show, so the entire world is divided by yeah, it's alternate history. So what it's like when Germany won World War I.
Shut up!
Yeah, it's like yeah, now like countries like Iran, Statue of Liberty, yeah,
Yeah, come on.
I was like, you're or if it doesn't give you
Thanks. Like, these are great structures to speak on, and like these are time we all speak over. I did like understand it's the one thing that probably stay in faith, but like the Apollo and so well,
For the king of figure.
That's 3 years. It's gonna be a big white spot.
You're doing real good.
Hey Phil, are we still live streaming? Are we still live streaming?
How are you guys' discussion questions coming? Okay, so I have another question. Okay, guys, hello. How can we communicate support to us? How can we communicate it? It's the energy starting to energy.
but a little bit shorter, I'm sure.
Mine's 2 minutes.
Mine's 10 sentences.
Then yeah, I think I got you beat on that.
Yeah, I think you got me
I
beat.
also have to say it in front of thousands of people, so it's whatever.
I mean, that's okay. You do that every day, right? I mean, like,
All right, Student Senate, if you could go ahead and take a seat, we'll go ahead and continue on with our agenda for the evening. All right, next up on the agenda is approval of minor allocations. Bill 17 is a travel allocation to the agriculture ambassadors. They requested 800 and were recommended 800. Bill 18 is a travel allocation to the Student Veterans Association. They requested $1,000 and were recommended 500. Is there a motion to approve the minor allocations? Coordinator Bothwell. All right, it's been moved and seconded to approve the minor allocations. If there are no objections, the minor allocations are approved. We will now move into introduction of minor allocations. All that's up tonight is Bill 19, which is a travel allocation to the Kansas State University chapter of Golf Course Superintendents Association of America. They requested $800 and were recommended $800. All right, with that, we'll move into introduction of legislation. Is there a motion to consider Resolution 16? Caucus Leader Spencer. All right, it's been moved and seconded to consider Resolution 16. Will the author please come forward? Coordinator Bothwell. All right, it's been moved and seconded to allow the author to summarize. If there are no objections, you may summarize.
All right. So these are just some changes to the Engineering Student Council Constitution that Chase and I talked about last year and are just trying to kind of like finalize. So overview, we eliminated the Outreach Director and we eliminated the Events Director position, and we replaced these with 2 committees that serve similar purposes. So we have the Student Engagement Committee now and the Events Committee. We also added in a committee structure so we can add new committees in the future. We added a few duties to a handful of positions, and we added a formal review process, and then we also fixed typos and wording.
Are there any questions for Senator Orzechowski? And Senator Orzechowski, if you could you address why this is coming before Student Senate?
Oh, yeah. So Senate, the College Council constitutions are subject to approval by the Student Senate.
All right, with that, are there any additional questions? All right. This resolution will be referred to the Senate Operations Committee. All right, next up is Resolution 17. Is there a motion to consider Resolution 17? Caucus Leader Spellman. Chair Spellman. All right, it's been moved and seconded. Consider Resolution 17. Will the author please come forward?
Sorry, it's not on the paper once. I have to pull it up real quick. All right. So just real quick. So the one I submitted was the inaccurate one. Should I go ahead and read that and then just let the changes?
If you could read the accurate one and send those changes to Parliamentarian Moore.
All right. So Resolution 18/1917, a call to action on community solutions to affordable housing by Jonathan Cole, Lacey Pitts, Corbin Solachik, and Haley Spellman. Whereas Kansas State University students have expressed concern that the current state of affordable housing is abysmal, whereas the Institute for Civic Discourse and Democracy, ICDD, in conjunction with the Healthy Communities Laboratory and the KSU Landscape Architecture and Regional and Community Planning Department, initiated a project titled Community Solutions to Affordable Housing, CSAW, whereas CSAW is a collaborative 2-year project tasked with exploring the issue of affordable housing in Manhattan, Kansas, and developing an array of solutions for development and decision-making funded by the Kansas Health Foundation, whereas CSAW held a 2-hour community forum on April 12th, 2018, attended by landlords, students, and other community members in various study circles during the summer of 2018 to gather information, whereas CSAW has developed 3 goals for Manhattan area affordable housing advocacy groups to focus on, consisting of establishing a community housing trust fund, mandatory rental inspections, and to focus on neighborhood revitalization, whereas part of the mission of the Kansas State KSU Student Governing Association is to provide the student body with committed advocacy through the assessment of University programs, and whereas KSU-SG responds to student needs and enhances the student experience, be it resolved that Section 1, Kansas State University Student Government Association commend the efforts of the Institute for Civic Democracy and Discourse for their work on affordable housing and for establishing 3 goals to affordable housing in Manhattan, Kansas. Section 2, KSU-SGA calls upon the Manhattan City Commission to take action on these 3 goals, as well as others to meet student needs and enhance the student experience. And Section 3, upon passage of this resolution by the Student Senate and signature of the Student Body President, a copy of this resolution shall be sent to ICDD Director David Proctor, Seesaw Principal Investigator Donna Hamlin, Mayor Linda Morse, Commissioner Wynn Butler, Commissioner Mike Dodson, Commissioner Jared McKee, Commissioner Yusha Reddy, and University President Richard Myers.
All right, with that, are there any questions for the author? Chair Spellman.
It says ICCD. It's ICDD. That's why, yeah.
Further questions? Senator Cole.
When it goes to committee, yeah.
All right, are there any additional questions for the author? All right, seeing none, this resolution will be referred to the Governmental Relations Committee. Next up is Resolution 18, Recognition of National Transfer Student Week. Is there a motion to consider Resolution 18? Caucus Leader Heatherman. It's been moved and seconded to consider Resolution 18. Will the author please come forward?
Oh God, you should be over here. You're taller than me. Hi, I'm short. All right. Whereas transfer students are a vital part of the Kansas State family, representing 30% of the student population, whereas it's the duty of Student Governing Association, SGA, to represent and advocate for all students attending Kansas State University, whereas transfer students are traditionally underrepresented in campus organizations, including SGA, and find it difficult to get involved, and whereas National Transfer Student Week occurs annually on the 3rd week of October.
Be it resolved that SGA recognizes the upcoming week of October 15th through 19th, 2018 as Transfer Student Week. SGA recognizes the contributions of the numerous transfer students at Kansas State University and reaffirms their commitment to them. Upon passage by the Student Senate and signature of the Student Body President, a copy of this resolution shall be sent to the Transfer Student Association, Transfer Student Ambassador Lead Ellie Light, Assistant Director of New Student Services and Transfer Coordinator Dina Cord, Vice President of Student Life and Dean of Students Pat Bosco, and University President Richard B. Myers.
Are there any questions or corrections for the authors? All right, seeing none, where would you like this resolution referred to? This resolution will be referred to Senate Operations Committee.
Okay.
Thank you.
All right, is there a motion to consider Bill 20? Coordinator Bothwell. All right, it's been moved and considered, or seconded to consider Bill 20. Will the author please come forward?
Okay, so this bill is by the Travel Allocation Committee, whereas the Travel Allocation Committee received and reviewed the travel request for the investment club, whereas 14 students will be traveling to Chicago, Illinois on October 25th to the 27th, 2018 to visit the Chicago Mercantile Exchange. Whereas students will be able to gain exposure to investment management professionals and investment management companies, whereas students will spend their time meeting with investment professionals and learning about their careers and researches, whereas they will be able to gain knowledge from these professionals to go beyond what is taught in classrooms at K-State and be able to reinforce those topic skills that is learned in their finance classes. Whereas Investment Club is registered as a center for student involvement as a departmental student organization, and whereas the funds requested by this group and the funding recommended made by following, the travel expenses requested was $1,000 and recommended is $1,000 as well. Be it enacted that Section 1, Investment Club shall be allocated $1,000 for this event. Section 2, upon passage by the Student Senate and signature by the student body president, these funds should be transferred to, well, the account number from travel allocation to the account number for Investment Club. Is there any questions?
Are there any questions for the author? All right. First of all, this resolution or this bill will be referred to the Travel Allocations Committee. And second, if we could give a round of applause to Lala. I think she's the first intern for reading legislation.
Thank you.
All right. With that, we'll now move into second open period. Are there any second open period speakers? Senator Neatery. Are there any questions for Senator Neatery? Senator Cole? All right. Any more questions for Senator Neatery? If not, are there any more second open period speakers? Vice President Pitts.
Last year, a really cool thing that Jack did right before KS Unite was have all of Senate do kind of our own PR push for going to KS Unite. So I know none of you have Twitter or Facebook or anything like that open right now, but if you could all pull up your respective social media resources, whether that's Instagram, Facebook, Twitter, maybe it's all of them, and kind of pin a quick message of why students should go to KS Unite. Maybe you're just tweeting hashtag KS Unite, but it looks really good when a large body of senators, I mean, there's probably over 50 of us in here. If 50 of us all posted about it, it looks really good for the student body, and it shows that SGA really cares. So you can go to my accounts. I tweeted some stuff. Don't look at my Instagram. It's usually useless. But everything else has kind of stuff about KS Unite. So go there, retweet it. Go retweet John's tweet about how I told him to tweet about KS Unite. But it looks really good, and it shows that SGA is really engaged, and I hope you all attend on Tuesday as well. So raise your hands when you have a post finished about KS Unite. Yeah, that's right. All right, all right. Keep raising your hands when you're done. All right. Okay, well, you're all doing very well. I think I'm done. I don't think
all right,
there's
if we could all put our hands down.
Yeah.
Are there any questions for Vice President Pitts? Senator Brown.
What's up? I would say on the communications and marketing announcement, Miranda, there's a website too. Yeah. So if you want to post about like the speaking event happening in Memorial Stadium, or about the sessions that Dr. Samuel touched on that were happening before and after the event all day long, that would be really good. So, you know, another good thing to talk about is how they're canceling classes for that time so students can attend. So if you want to say something about that, or say how it's about everybody and all of that, it's going to be really good. So thanks everyone for posting about it and, you know, entertaining me. I'm done.
All right, thanks, Lacey. Are there any more questions for Vice President Pitts? All right, if not, are there any more second open period speakers? Senator Cole. Questions for Senator Cole? All right, seeing none, are there any more second open period speakers? Chair Spellman.
Just a reminder that we're planning this party, so if you have ideas, suggestions, find me afterwards.
Further second open period speakers. Caucus Leader Sullivan.
Hi guys, just wanted to say real quick that on Monday, the Tall Republicans and the Young Democrats are having a good old-fashioned debate in the Union at 6:30 in the main ballroom.
All right, any questions? Seeing none. Senator Cole?
With the change in public charge, we're doing that on Sunday. I sent out an asset sourcing class, so just reminding you, Sunday at 7, if you're comfortable with the room.
Any questions for Senator Cole? Seeing none, are there any additional second open period speakers? Senator King.
So everyone, I don't know if you guys know, but I am involved in yearbook. I'm the marketing manager for our yearbook, and if you didn't know we have a yearbook, it is the Royal Purple. What I'm basically asking from you guys is we do group photos every year. So if you guys are involved in a group or organization that you would like to have it be in the yearbook, just talk to me after Senate and we can get that group in the yearbook.
All right, any questions for Senator King? Seeing none, are there any more second open period speakers? All right, if not, we'll move into reference of legislation. I just wanted to mention that Resolution 16 and 18 are both referred to the Senate Operations Committee. Resolution 17 is referred to the Governmental Relations Committee, and Bill 20 is referred to the Travel Allocations Committee. Now we'll move into second roll call.
Adams, Albers, Armstrong, Arnoldi, Belk, Bergston, Bolar, Bothwell, Bowen, Brown, Carpenter, Cole, DeMoranville, Dunfield, Esses, Filbert, Gammon, Grover, Gupta, Hammond, Harp, Heatherman, Hildreth, Huffman, Javin, Karamali, Kidd, King, Kulkarni, Leverett, Mari, Morgan, Neatery, Orth, Orzakowski, Pelton, Penny, Porter, Riffle, Roman, Smith, Spellman, Spencer, Sullivan, Tile, Thompson, Chumland, Wessel, Wilhelm, Whitmer, and Yogunadon. All right, we have 41 senators present, 4 excused, and 7 absent.
With that, is there a motion to adjourn? Senator Albers. All right, it's been moved and seconded to adjourn to same time, same place next week. If there are no objections, we are adjourned.